Every empire believes it will last forever, but none ever do. From the deserts of Persia to the jungles of India, from Rome to London to Moscow, every great power that once ruled the world has eventually fallen. They rose with ambition, expanded through conquest, thrived in wealth and power, and then collapsed. But why? What makes even the greatest empires crumble? To understand this, we need to go back to the empire that defined them all, Rome. Rome began as a small city-state on the banks of the Tiber River. But through conquest, discipline, and relentless ambition, it became the most powerful empire the world had ever seen. At its height, the Roman Empire stretched from Britain to Mesopotamia, millions of square kilometers, over 70 million people, and one idea: Rome would never fall. But it did, and its collapse would teach the world the first great lesson of empire. Rome grew too large to manage. Senators grew rich, soldiers grew tired, and emperors fought each other more than Rome's enemies. The empire depended on conquest to survive. When expansion stopped, money stopped too. Inflation rose, trade slowed, people starved. Germanic tribes, Huns, Persians, all attacked a weakened empire that could no longer defend itself. By 476 AD, the Western Roman Empire was gone. Rome didn't fall in a day, it crumbled from within, and then was finished from outside. From the steppes of Mongolia came a man who would unite the tribes and set the world on fire: Genghis Khan. At first, the Mongols were nomads, warriors on horseback, fighting for survival. But under Genghis Khan, they became something greater, a force that moved faster, struck harder, and conquered more than any army before them. In just a few decades, the Mongols built the largest contiguous empire in history, stretching from the Pacific Ocean to the edges of Europe. But the same speed that built it would destroy it. Genghis Khan created an empire of conquest, not administration. After his death, his sons and grandsons divided the empire into 4 khanates. Each ruled independently. With no single leader, unity vanished. The empire that had conquered the world began to turn on itself. The Mongols ruled over Persians, Chinese, Russians, Arabs. People with different religions, languages, and traditions. What had once been a military machine became an unstable mix of cultures that couldn't be governed from one center. By the 14th century, the once mighty empire had shattered. The Yuan dynasty fell in China. The Golden Horde weakened in Europe. The steppe returned to silence. They conquered the world, but couldn't rule it. While the Byzantine Empire was barely holding itself together, a new power was rising in the east: the Ottoman Empire. Founded by Osman I in 1299, this small frontier state would soon become the nightmare of Europe. 1453, Mehmed II captures Constantinople. The Christian Byzantine Empire is gone, and in its place stands a Muslim superpower ruling across 3 continents. Trade flourishes, armies dominate, and the empire shines as a beacon of power. But as always, the higher the rise, the harder the fall. The empire became massive, too massive. Power was centralized, bureaucracy bloated, and decision-making painfully slow. When the Sultan is seen as a demigod, mistakes aren't allowed, yet mistakes became the norm. Meanwhile, Europe was discovering the Renaissance, the printing press, and gunpowder innovations. The Ottomans? They banned printing in Arabic for centuries. Yes, while Europe built cannons, the Ottomans perfected calligraphy. When Europeans found sea routes to India, the Silk Road lost importance. The empire's profits vanished, taxes rose, rebellions followed. It's the economic version of everything's fine, and when it absolutely isn't. By the 17th century, the empire was ruled not by warriors, but by palace cliques, viziers, wives, and even the royal eunuchs. The once fearsome war machine turned into a bureaucratic soap opera. By the 19th century, the Ottoman Empire was no longer feared. It was pitied. Russia, Austria, Hungary, Britain, and France all took pieces of its land, and World War I delivered the final blow. The empire dies, but its legacy survives, in its architecture, its culture, and its history. For centuries, the Ottomans ruled the crossroads of the world, until time itself conquered them. After World War II, there was no doubt the Soviet Union was a superpower. It defeated Nazi Germany, conquered half of Europe, and looked unstoppable. From Berlin to Vladivostok, the Red Banner ruled. But like all empires before, its biggest enemy wasn't outside, it was inside. In just a few years, the USSR built an empire without calling it one. It didn't conquer colonies, it liberated them. Poland, East Germany, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, all behind the Iron Curtain. Then came the ultimate duel, capitalism versus communism, the USA versus the USSR. The Soviets went to space first, and everyone cheered. But going to space is expensive. Keeping 1 million troops in Eastern Europe? Also expensive. And trying to compete with America's economy? Very expensive. The USSR was spending like a billionaire, but earning like a small business. By the 1970s, the Soviet machine was rusting. Factories ran but produced junk. The people worked, but motivation was gone. And while America had McDonald's, jeans, and rock music, the USSR had potatoes. The system couldn't adapt, innovate, or even admit problems existed. Because in communism, saying something's wrong is what's wrong. Then came the Soviet Vietnam, Afghanistan. 10 years, billions wasted, and nothing achieved. While soldiers died abroad, shelves at home were empty, oil prices dropped, debts grew, and even vodka couldn't drown the reality. The empire was collapsing under its own weight. Enter Mikhail Gorbachev. He saw the problem. The USSR was outdated and tried to fix it with 2 magic words: perestroika and glasnost, reform and openness. But when you open the floodgates of truth, the whole dam comes down. 1989, Eastern Europe breaks free. 1991, the Soviet republics declare independence. And on December 26, 1991, the hammer and sickle was lowered for the last time. The Soviet Union didn't lose a war. It lost belief in itself. From the Roman Empire to the Ottomans, and now to the Soviets, the story never changes. Empires don't fall when they're weak. They fall when they can no longer change.